everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host, John, and today you're in the channel. We're going to be talking about Krull and its brand new 4K Steelbook that just came out. But before we get into that 4K Blu-ray review, I always like to give a quick film review, and today is no different. So if you don't want to know anything about the film Krull and you're just here for that 4K Blu-ray review, you guys can skip ahead to that right now. So this is actually a twofold review for you guys, because this is also a review for our channel director Stone Gasman, which I would usually include in the Let's Talk review show, but because he requested this movie and it has a brand new 4K Steelbook out, I figured, hey, we'll review the 4K Steelbook here for the channel, and it's also a first time watch for me, so that's pretty exciting. I usually don't blind buy movies like this, but if Stone Gasman's going to recommend it to me, I feel like I owe it to him, somebody who supports the channel like that, because if you are a channel director, I will review a film for you each and every single month. Your choice, no matter what the film is, and believe me, people have tested that. There are some movies in there that I'm like, I definitely want to check that out if it wasn't for the directors, but I'm glad that this one was recommended to me, because for me, this is a movie that checks a ton of boxes, so it makes me think that Stone Gasman knows me pretty well. It's directed by Peter Yates, who also directed Bullet, one of the most famous films starring Steve McQueen. You know, it's mostly known for that scene in San Francisco in the hills and that beautiful Mustang. I actually have the DVD for that. It's one of my uncle's favorite films. He sent me that during the pandemic because he wanted me to check it out. I appreciate that. But you know that there's a very competent director in the director's chair. This is a Columbia Films release. It had a pretty big budget for the time, but unfortunately this movie bombed at the box office, mainly because I don't know if they were going into this with the right idea. I know that Star Wars was the biggest thing in the world and everybody was trying to cash in on that, and I just think that this one just kind of got overlooked because it's not a flawless film. This is a film that definitely checks a lot of boxes for me personally. You know, filming on location, also building these big, beautiful sets, creating a world they actually have to create, Krull itself. So the production design is absolutely incredible. Special effects that really have stood the test of time, and it's incredible because this is a 1983 film, so it was probably very difficult to get these effects to actually work as well as they did. Some stuff hasn't aged that great, but hey, it's to be expected. It's also got a phenomenal score by James Horner, which I don't know if there was an inspiration or not for that in this film, but listening to the score for this movie, and recently I just watched Men in Black, there are certain elements to this score that very much carry over to Danny Elfman's score in Men in Black. So I wonder if he was somebody who was inspired by this film score by James Horner and was paying inspiration to it in Men in Black, which I could really appreciate. When you see people looking up this movie, the thing that always comes up is the fact that Liam Neeson and Robbie Coltrane have very small roles in this film. They don't star in it, but they have very small roles, even though Robbie Coltrane is dubbed in this movie, which I thought was a weird choice. I think actually a couple people are dubbed. The lead actress is dubbed as well. I guess they wanted her to sound stronger. I know I haven't even told you guys what the hell the plot to this movie is, but it's your classic sci-fi fantasy plot at the beginning of this movie. Krull's about to be invaded by the Beast and his ship, the Black Fortress, and all of his soldiers. Before that can happen, though, the two kings of the realm are going to join their houses like it's Game of Thrones. You know, my son will marry your daughter, and we will rule together, and we will defeat the Beast. But before they can officially get married, the Beast shows up, kidnaps the soon-to-be queen, and now the soon-to-be king gets knocked out. He's got to, come back to his senses and find the queen. The only problem is, the Beast ship, the Black Fortress, every day at sunrise, it teleports somewhere else, and nobody is able to figure out where that ship is going to end up, except for one person, which we'll find in this movie. And, that effect isn't really the greatest. It's just something where they're trying to, dissolve the ship itself and have it transport. So you can clearly see that effect, it's an in-camera effect. Maybe it hasn't aged that great, but again, it's from 1983, so it's still very impressive to me. And as the movie is going on, our group of people start to add more and more people, including somebody who's clearly a Cyclops. So I think they even call him a Cyclops. But anyway, if you've ever seen Harold and Kumar 2, Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay, in that movie, they go to someone's house, and in the basement, there's somebody who's clearly supposed to be Chump from the Goonies, but he has one eye like a Cyclops, and the makeup effects are exactly like the effects for the Cyclops in this movie. So again, were they paying homage to this movie? Were there people who actually really liked this movie back in the 1980s, and it was just the critics who shit on it, and that's why it didn't perform that well at the box office? Because overall, I did really enjoy this film. I had a great time. The time flew by. It's just that Unfortunately, the plot can be a little bit convoluted. It is a fantasy film, so you're trying to like create a world, create a characters, explain to us, the politics of the time and how everything works within this realm. But you have to fit it into a movie that's less than 2 hours. So unfortunately, I feel like some stuff falls to the wayside, especially explanations for certain things. But I don't think overall it hurts the film because it's a very entertaining film. Everybody who's involved as far as acting go is giving it their all. Maybe they're not having, maybe it's not their best performances, but you can clearly see that there was an effort put into this film. It's not a so bad it's good kind of film. I just feel like it's an unappreciated film because I really enjoyed it. It's one I will definitely be going back to. Again, I know some people might be like, those effects look pretty bad for the time, but I've told you guys in the past, I'm somebody who really does enjoy like an 80s effect more than I enjoy like the modern day CGI, which I really believe like ruins films, and as films get older, I feel like the bad CGI ages way worse than like bad effects in a movie like this, which, the effects in this movie from 1983 look way better than Spawn that we talked about earlier in the week on 4K Blu-ray and everything. It doesn't matter. The effects in this movie still look way better than that. And I just feel like this is a very unappreciated movie that obviously has a cult following, or Sony wouldn't actually put out this 4K Steelbook that we're going to be talking about right now.
Is Krull a world light years beyond your imagination?
And here it is, Krull on 4K Steelbook, and this came out from Sony. Obviously, it's got the Columbia Pictures logo in the corner because Sony does own Columbia Pictures, so even though you get the Columbia Pictures logo, it'll say a Sony company. Not on this 4K, though, but if you were to see a new Columbia Pictures film in theaters, and they also own TriStar. It's crazy how many companies that Sony has. But luckily for us, they gave us this brand new 4K Steelbook. And a movie like this, which I just talked about, the great effects and everything like that, this 4K Blu-ray, as far as the visuals go, are stunning. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's look at this 4K Steelbook, which I like the matte finish, the flat finish to it. I think it works. It might be a little bit dark for some people's taste because there is no real glossy look in certain sections where I think it would work for it. It's just a flat matte finishing to it. I think some gloss would have really helped it out in certain areas, especially on the back here. Imagine if this was glossy, I think it would have worked a little bit better. It did come with a digital code, but it also comes with one 4K disc and one Blu-ray disc. Now, I am not 100% sure if that pack-in Blu-ray is the new scan or not. My best guess it is because the Blu-ray that's packed in here does look really good as well, so I'm thinking it's the same scan, just downgraded to Blu-ray, but I could be wrong on that. I can't confirm. Again, one thing about this is it is a blind buy for me. It is a first-time watch for me, so I don't really have the biggest education on the film itself and on the production. Other than, on that Blu-ray, there is an old making-of that's about 22 minutes long, and that's one of the only extras on here. You get a commentary track as well, the trailer, and there's one more extra, but that's really it. So not many extras, which again, for a movie like this that had a big budget and failed hard at the box office, I don't expect there to be that many looking backs on it, but it would have been cool to get a little bit more. The making of is still pretty cool as well. I did appreciate that. Kind of reminded me of the James Bond's making ofs actually, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was something similar when they were doing that in London at the time, like how they do with the James Bond films and their making ofs. Similar length, kind of just felt like that, something more in line to promote the film. I would have liked more extras, but again, I'm not surprised. Now, the audio that you will find is a brand new Dolby Atmos track, and it is so good. It's a great Dolby Atmos track, as to be expected with a movie like this. A great James Horner score. It's relying on a lot of sound effects because there's a lot of obviously sci-fi war scenes in this movie, so you expect this to be a very good Dolby Atmos track, and sure enough, it is a very good Dolby Atmos track. Is it a 10 out of 10? No, but it's like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. I thought it was very solid, but the standout, as to be expected, because this is a Sony 4K Blu-ray release, of course, the visuals in Dolby Vision and HDR10 look phenomenal. Now, again, I can't compare it to previous releases because I haven't seen it. I have never seen it on streaming, so I don't know how much of an upgrade this necessarily is, if it's something that you would even want to upgrade to. I guess a lot of it will have to come down to, are you a fan of the movie Krull or not? I would say, before you go out and purchase this, because it is a pretty petty, and in the United States, you're only going to be getting this in a 4K Steelbook, so I would definitely make sure you like the film before you end up picking this one up. Even though it is a 4K Steelbook, who knows how long it'll last. I imagine this one won't be too tough to get, but it hasn't really dropped in price. I still think on Amazon it's about $40. And if you don't like the movie, I can't recommend you grab it. But if you are a fan of this movie, they really went all out with the visuals and the audio, which for most people who don't really necessarily care about the extras, that is going to be more than enough to justify them picking up this movie. Just go into it knowing that, this movie might not necessarily be for you. I would say, hey, check it out first, but if you love the movie, this is a very solid 4K Blu-ray release, and I would give Krull on 4K from Sony and its Columbia Pictures brand a pretty damn solid 9 out of 10. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for me on another episode of Let's Talk. I hope you enjoyed my review, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, share the video if you could. We also have channel memberships. You can also become a channel producer like John Doe Juggalo, Ben Rondo, and Harvey Scott, or you can become a channel director like Stone Gas Man, Nicholas Head, Frank from Frank's Media Reviews, Uncle V, and Kevin Kruger, or if you'd like to bump it up to the channel bankroll member like Mr. Smelly Potato, you can do that as well. But of course, guys, if you have no money to throw my way, I don't mind at all. I just hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and we'll be seeing you around.